Alright, so I just want to start off by saying that I did this entire tutorial. And it was focused on the background the whole time. So if that happens again. Okay. So here's something that I believe will be a great tutorial to helping get rid of a bunch of frustration that you may have with using Lightroom amongst different computers. And by that, I mean, you'll figure out what I mean. Alright, so this isn't going to be a tutorial on how to actually edit in Lightroom. There's plenty of those out there, but if someone wanted to see a tutorial on me doing it, yeah, I mean, sure, I'll do one for you. So today I'm going to be showing you basically how to use Lightroom across different computers, because if you're like me, chances are you either have a desktop computer, a laptop, and then possibly even a computer at work that you might use to do some edits of your photos. So like I said, if you have multiple computers, Adobe's actually pretty cool with that. It does let you log into 2 different computers with 1 account. So let's say if you are going on vacation and you want to do like some edits while you were there, or if you needed to travel for work, you can still use Photoshop, you can use Premiere, you can use Audition, Flash, and all that other stuff. The only thing is that Lightroom's a little weird because it doesn't let you sync your catalog between multiple devices. I do understand why, because with internal hard drives and external hard drives, you're not going to be unplugging and plugging them into everything, and there is different directory when it comes to using a desktop computer and your laptop computer. You're just going to have different things on there. But it still sucks that you can't sync Lightroom Mobile, and that you can't sync files that you've already edited and then just say, hey, this is my external hard drive, I have it on this computer, and I also want to use it on this computer. It doesn't work that way. But I have a little workaround. So basically the biggest thing for me is being able to edit photos while I'm on vacation, or just on a job site where I might be taking photos and then editing them on the spot so the person can see them right then and there. So if I'm on vacation and I edit some pictures on my laptop because I want to post them to Instagram, because you know I'm all about the gram. Not really, my account is very behind. I don't post nearly enough. Actually, if you follow me on my Instagram, you'll see on my story that I messed up on this first tutorial and everything was just not in focus. And I really hope it's in focus right now, because if it's not, I'm gonna fucking cry. So basically, I'm on vacation, I want to be able to edit, post some stuff to Instagram, or just go over some photos that I had. The only issue is when I get back home, I unplug my hard drive, I plug in my computer, all my edits aren't there. They're just files. It doesn't see them. I need to import them as new photos into the different catalogs. So this is where the workaround comes in. First things first, when you're on vacation, you're on that job site, don't bother importing everything in as DNG. It's unnecessary. I know it's usually a common standard for people to convert to DNG. You just don't need to. We'll be using it later on, just not for the initial transfer. So you import everything in, you actually just take everything off of the memory card and you drag it right onto the computer. You know, you put in your folder, you date it, you do everything that you normally would. You go into Lightroom and you just click add when you do the import. You don't need to convert to DNG, none of that. Actually, for me, I actually have an A7R3, so the file sizes are so large that my 2013 13-inch MacBook Pro with 8 gigs of RAM and 500 gigs of storage most likely will crash. If it doesn't do it during the import, during the conversion stage to DNG, it just like completely freezes the program. I've actually had it crash, and then next thing I know, I just have a bunch of like half raw, half DNG files, and it just becomes a nightmare, and it's nothing that you want to deal with, at least if you have a slow computer. Alright, so all your files are now on your laptop, or the first computer, or whatever computer isn't your main computer. You can go in, you can edit your photos just like you normally would, no big deal. But let's say you do want to post something to Instagram. You can't just use the Lightroom catalog to, sync with your mobile app. You download them, you post them. In this case, there's a little bit of a weird step. I say export those couple photos as JPEGs. You can either save them to your desktop and then upload them to Google Drive, or you can export them to the Creative Cloud folder. That you can actually sync through multiple devices. I actually use that to sync different files between my computer and my laptop. The only thing is it doesn't work with Lightroom the same way. It's not the same process at all. So you can use those. You can use Dropbox, Google Drive, the Creative Cloud. If you have a MacBook and an iPhone, you can just use AirDrop. I actually find that to be the fastest process. So now you have all your edits on your computer, and they're just in raw files. They're not in DNGs, and you want to be able to move them over to your computer. So that's actually where it's pretty neat, because Lightroom doesn't actually make those separate files where some other programs will, where if you have a raw file that isn't a DNG, it actually makes a separate file that has the edits, and then you have to move those together. And then the other program would open them both up. One would be the information, one would be the actual photo. Lightroom, it actually saves everything in Lightroom itself. So this is where the workaround comes in. Depending on how you imported your photos, I typically keep them on an external drive. I don't put them on my laptop itself. But either way, you want to get them all onto a external hard drive. So you can keep it right in the folder. You can just drag them right in. If they're already on there, great. Now for those files that you actually did edit, and let's say you even starred them, that's how I usually go through. Well, because you don't actually want to edit a bunch of photos all at one time, especially with this process. I say just pick a few that you really want, stick to those ones, and then when you get back home or to the office, then you can edit a bunch of photos all at the same time. But for now, so what you do is you take those photos that you edited and the ones that you've starred, you select those and you actually export them as DNGs. So when you export them, I put them in a folder just actually called DNG, separated from all the other photos. You can name it whatever you want. DNGs just make sense to me. So now that you have all those photos on the hard drive, you can actually take that hard drive and plug them into your new computer. Just a quick tip, if you have a Mac and a PC like I do, make sure your hard drive is compatible with both. When I first got them, I had a whole issue where I had to take everything off the hard drive, format it for both of them, put everything back on. It was a whole process. Just save yourself the time, just make sure it's there first. So now you're moving everything from the hard drive onto your desktop computer. There's actually two ways to do this, so I'll go over both of them just to make sure. It could be a simple thing of just getting through the process or forgetting something. DNGs that you import into Lightroom don't actually retain the information the same way that you would expect. Lightroom itself actually retains all that information in itself, and that's why we actually had to export DNGs into that separate file. So now what you do is you take those separate DNGs that we put into a folder and you actually overwrite the files that we just made. The first way to do this is to actually move everything off of the hard drive onto the computer, keeping them exactly how they are, opening up Lightroom and then actually importing them, and just click add. Don't do copy as DNG because that'll actually keep the original files and then also make a DNG. Then you'll just have a bunch of duplicates and you don't want all that. Instead, you add everything in and then you go up to library and then you actually convert them to DNG afterwards. And the second way would be to keep everything on the hard drive, opening up Lightroom and then click import copy as DNG, which will move them over to the folder. You just have to make a new folder on the actual computer for them all to go to. Essentially, those are the two basic processes. They both do the same thing, just different ways. And now when you open up Lightroom, you'll see that all your edits are there. Even those photos that you just starred and didn't edit, those ones will retain information as well. And that's pretty much it. So now if you decide to go back to the other computer to edit on, let's say you have a project that you're working on, and you actually wanted to go on vacation and edit them while you're there, just do the same process. The reason why I actually had you make an extra folder for the DNGs is because Lightroom won't actually let you save over current files. You have to do that on your own in the File Explorer. Essentially, that's the tutorial that I had for you. Like I said, I already made another tutorial, and I took about a half hour to record, and this just took me under 20 minutes to do this whole thing, and I had a couple interruptions because my cat was scratching at the door. Hopefully this one was still just as good. I know I definitely went a little bit faster. I kind of caught the rhythm. I really hope I didn't miss anything, but that's showbiz, baby. That was dumb. As I said in the beginning, if anyone does want to see some tutorials for actual editing, just let me know down in the comments below, and that's something I can definitely do. This is something that I've always wanted to do, is just make some tutorials like this, because I feel like there's a lot of information that I've learned over the last couple of years, especially working at a camera shop where I do a lot of photo restoration and talk to a lot of photographers on a daily basis. And being able to help other people is something that I find a real lot of enjoyment. Blah, 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 blah. And it's something that I find a lot of enjoyment in doing. So hope you guys like this video. Hopefully it made sense, and I'll see you. I won't see you. I don't know why do people say that? I don't see you at all. I see a camera right now. You'll see me. something. Weird.